what I would love for you to do when you are supporting, and I'm going to talk a little bit first about the levels of touch that we bring into this work. So when somebody's breathing and we want to support them through touch, we don't just reach and touch them. Each touch has many different levels, and we work by these levels. The first level of touch is your intention. So once you start to create intention about the touch, it's already started. So the movement of energy is already started towards this person that you want to touch. So intention is first. Why you're touching, what you want to achieve with your touch. And sometimes it happens so fast. From the moment that intention came through the actual touch may happen within a second or a second and a half. But nevertheless, it's there. The second level of touch is approach. So you make an intention without even thinking of bringing this intention to your mind. Sometimes intention is a knowing. It doesn't go through your cognitive process. It doesn't go through your cerebral cortex. You don't recognize it, but you feel that it's the right thing to do. So even with that, it's not really a mind process. So the next level from intention is approach. So you're moving slowly. The third level, you're coming into actual energetic field of the person. That's what you experimented with right now. You felt your own energetic vibration first, and then you're moving closer into someone else's vibration. Once you come into their energetic field, and in some areas, you probably felt that you felt this field this much away from the body, and other areas you had to come really close to actually sense its presence. Who felt this? Most of you. Yeah. So in different areas of the body, you will feel that you need to come sometimes way above the body. In other areas, you come really close. But that is still the place where you are in the energetic field. The next stage is the actual physical connection, physical touch. You can start with the fingertips, or it can start with your whole palm, but it's still just a very light touch on the body. So when that part is there already, that the person is expecting it, that it's coming. It's not comes as a shock. Because first of all, the intention was there, then the approach and the energetic connection. All of this, if you're in resonance with your client, prepares them for the actual physical touch coming. And it works in these mysterious ways. I don't know how, but it just works. We approach touch, we always start on the periphery of the body, meaning head, arms, legs. We don't go straight for the heart or the belly. So this already makes someone relax even more. It makes them trust. We don't go straight for the vulnerable places. We move from the periphery inward. This creates really the space of relaxation and trust. That person is receiving the touch, they know that they are taken care of, that somebody's here who cares, and they feel that, first of all, through your presence, and the next thing they feel it through is your physical touch. So if you feel shaky, if you feel uncertain to touch, rather don't touch. There's nothing worse than if I go for a massage and I feel that somebody that's massaging me is unsure of what they're doing. And I could get off me, I get off the table, leave me alone. Because I want to be touched, I want to be touched with confidence. So feel that confidence. When you are touching somebody, if you are unsure, withdraw your hand. Come back to your confidence. Feel confident first and then you approach again. Anything you want to add to this, Chetana?
I just want to speak a little bit about meditation and as to why we start each day with the meditation. It's to help support everything that Giten is speaking about. Is that in order for us to be empty, in order for us to really decipher the difference between my story and your energy, my filter and your energy, my projection and your energy, we have to keep getting emptier and emptier and emptier. So everything that we do here is in preparation for that. So it's, I just like to add that to emphasize why your own work is the foundation of supporting somebody else.
I want to say a few words about the breath first. The technique of breathing is deep, connected breathing. It is done through the mouth. So it looks like you're all experienced breathers here. I've been breathing since the day I was born. Keep going, hopefully for a little while longer. Yeah. So the breath is through the mouth, and it's in a connected way. So there is no break between inhalation and exhalation. The moment right before you finished exhaling, you already start to inhale. Right before, like about when you feel that you're about at 90% full, you already start to turn around with the breath. And a lot of the times I see people going into breathing where they kind of pushing an out breath. It looks something like this. Out breath is not an action, it's a relaxation. So you don't need to do anything to exhale. All you need to do is relax. Your body will breathe out on its own. So when you are breathing in, you engage in your diaphragm. Your diaphragm contracts. That's an action. To exhale, all you need to do is to relax. The breath will come out on itself. It will come out naturally. So this actual action that people go through on the exhalation, it is very counterproductive. So you're staying in this engaging while you're supposed to be relaxing. So the breath looks something like this. When I breathe this way, there's a natural expansion, engagement of my lungs, engagement of my whole chest, my thoracic region, because the lungs expand. And they expand fully. The throat is open, so there is nothing obstructing my breathing. When I'm breathing in, I'm not breathing through a collapsed palate. You can all experiment with this. If your palate is collapsing, it's blocking the free flow of breath. If you, for example, think of an opera singer, when they take in the breath, they full breath in, and on an out breath, they use their voice. And this voice comes out because everything is open. So it's really vibrating in their whole voice box. It's like a tube that's coming from their mouth all the way down to their belly. Everything is open on the way. We work with the same principle. Everything needs to be open. So with this approach, we start to bring up the charge of energy in the body. You notice if you're doing some kind of activity, you need to breathe. This gives you more energy. The oxygen converts into energy in your body. So we start to bring our energy level in this way, but we bring our energy level to the place enough where you don't feel overwhelmed. So it's enough to start to activate all your systems, especially your sympathetic nervous system. So we are, by this type of breath, we're activating our sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for fight or flight. So it's an accelerator, it's a gas pedal. So when we bring this activation, our body starts to respond in a certain way. So we work with that activation. With that activation, we start to process it. Therefore, we need to monitor this level of activation so it's activated enough for somebody to work with without overstimulating them. Because when the activation is level too much, then it becomes counterproductive. The person starts to disconnect. So we want to engage our sympathetic nervous system, but just enough so we have something to work with. This level is very particularly unique to each individual. We're not all the same across the board. For somebody, a few breaths will be enough. 5 to 10 breaths could be enough. Somebody needs to breathe, somebody else needs to breathe for 10 minutes before they reach that level. And at the same time, the level of activation that people can remain with also varies from person to person. We all have different resiliency. Somebody can be with this minimal level of activation for a very short time. For someone else, you can bring up the level of activation to a higher degree, and the person can stay with this activation for a longer time without having any negative effect on them. So you need to use your sensitivity, use your intuition, use your observation, and your judgment when enough is enough. For those of you who are just starting out, this is your first level, I recommend to start to experiment with the lower charges when you are supporting and also in yourself. So you can figure out what is the right thing for me and what may be the right thing for the person that I'm supporting. If somebody is traumatized, super traumatized, they are activated in their PTSD, we work with a very slight minimal level of activation, sometimes with no activation at all. We want to first discharge activation that's already there. Somebody comes really already activated, you don't want to activate them even more. You want to first discharge what is already there so you can work with something. So I will go into this type of breathing. We will start sitting up. The movement that accompanies this breath is movement. The concept of movement that we include is a movement that comes from the inside out. So you're not engaging your external musculature in the movement, but rather allowing yourself to serve this wave of the breath. So we're bringing in the breath into the body. If I'm breathing in, you already see that my whole chest, my whole upper body is gone up a little bit. So there's already movement. I'm breathing out, my chest deflated. So there's already slight movement happening in the thoracic region and in the spine. So you start to expand on this movement that's already happening with the breath. If you look at my body from the side, it's more visible. So this is the movement that's happening. It's going up and down. So there's a movement in the spine. And I will start to pick up on that movement and start to unwind it. This is the movement that we're looking for. After first initial movement with the breath, we want to start to bring in this wave in the spine. This wave after a while, it starts in one plane, but after a while, it can start to move without any particular plane of movement. It wants to go whichever way it wants to flow. So you give it opportunity, involving your neck, of course, because it's part of your spine, involving your shoulders. This is the first part where I will be sitting, exploring this movement together with the breath. Then I will lie down on my side and go into the fetal position. We start on the side in this position. This is the position you're in before you're born. And when you're ready to be born, your whole body starts to do this undulating movement. So you lead through the birth canal, you lead with your head. And this is kind of the movement that wants to happen. Kind of making your way through the birth canal so you can come into the world. You can come into another reality. As you're breathing, you're totally not in your mind again, because breathing in this way stops the thought process. But what is present without the thought process is your connection to your physical body. And so you're connected to experiencing your felt sense. You're connected to your physicality without really attaching any meaning to it. You're connected to this exploration of movement and breath. So you're in this position, and you are slowly start to unwind, lead with your head, and then sooner or later, because your body is activated, you want to come out of this womb. You want to come out, you want to explore this opening. Then more and more movement begins to happen in your back. You want to come out, you want to unfold, you want to open, and you want to come out into the full opening. And at some point, you want to come up into the counter position. The position when you bend the other way. So we activate the entire back. So we kind of call it startle position. Somebody scares you, one of the reactions of the body is that eyes open up big, neck contracts, lower back contracts. And a lot of us, after birth, we go into the startle position. Yeah, especially if you are going through the experience of being pulled out with forceps, or traumatic birth of some sort. Yeah, the body goes into the startle position. So we want to support again to come out of the startle position. Again, we go from the startle position, so we engage the musculature, and then we continue to breathe, and then out of that we start to unwind again. And again you unwind, you open up, you allow your body to move whichever way it wants to move. And at some point you can again come back into the fetal position, and you can repeat the whole process again, and you can repeat it twice or even 3 times throughout your session. And what it does is we are pretty much addressing our initial birth trauma, but coming into it with awareness and enough understanding that when we go through it again, but consciously, there's a time to do it differently. So we kind of complete the process that's been traumatic that's been interrupted, that's been stuck in the system because there's no recognition of what's going on. Our body is going through these experiences, and at times, most of the times, it's intense. But we are going through it again as an adult with awareness, and that's an opportunity for healing, for completing it, so we don't have to be stuck in the pattern of constantly, unconsciously looking for something or someone to complete it for us. So it takes us out of the pattern that we are stuck in this unconscious pattern. I spoke a lot.
I'm just going to add a little bit about my role in this, is that this first session, as Giten spoke about, is more resonance for you to really observe and feel. But there will be times where touch is called for. So that might look like if somebody's neck, or in this situation, if Giten's neck moves in a way that I feel could hurt him, I'm going to hold it. I'm not going to move it. It's not up to me to change his movement. I'm just here to support his movement. If the flow of going into fetal, into startle gets interrupted, I might do something that you'll notice to encourage him to keep moving or to stay in the flow. If for some reason his hands or his feet are hitting the floor, I'm going to be here to support with cushions. So it's a true supporting role, where other sessions we will teach you actual touch techniques. So we're not quite there yet, and my hands will likely end up on him at some point or another. And in the beginning, Giten spoke about me, or whoever you are as the supporter, naming what you're sensing. And this is a way, it's kind of like a check and balance, where I'm naming what I'm resonating with, and it's either going to be right or not right. And this is a way that you and your partner can also learn more about each other and how tuned in you truly are. Because it's hard to not bring in your own story, your own projection. That's pretty advanced. To really, really be so empty that the only thing you're feeling is them.